Welcome back to Wave 3 Listens. It's almost become a cliche when you say I'm honored to have, but today I mean this genuinely, very authentically. I am honored to have my next two guests here. With me to my right is the Archbishop of Louisville, Joseph Kurtz. Archbishop, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks. Good to be back, John. Thank you.
I rarely get nervous, but in your presence I do, and there's good reason. I think we all understand.
You're gonna make me nervous.
Rich Leglider joins us as well, and he is the president of the Catholic Education Foundation.
John,
Rich, welcome back to the show.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
I want to talk about something, and I mean this in a positive light. I have to tell you, Archbishop, we were all concerned, everyone in the community, not just those of the Catholic faith, about your recent health challenges.
Yes.
And so I wanted to ask, first of all, you look fantastic.
Well,
how's your energy? How
you
you
know
feeling?
what? I'm at 80%, John. Basically, I went through a whole system with chemo and immunotherapy and some surgery and whatnot, and I was declared cancer-free, but the doctor said you got to be able to do that every 3 months. So that's where I am. I'm taking immunotherapy. In fact, I got permission to get it here in Louisville, and just yesterday I had a dosage. I do it every 3 weeks. But my energy level's pretty good. Probably, as I said, I'm at 80% or so, but I'm sure happy to be back working and being with people and visiting parishes and getting on Wave 3.
You know, many times when people go through health challenges, it really forces them to, for lack of a better term, kind of delve deeper into their spirituality and into their faith. For someone like you, your whole life is centered around the Holy Spirit. How do you delve deeper, or was that necessary? Was it more of a confirmation?
No, confirmation, but also a stepping back, because life doesn't stay the same. And not only in my own life, but at the Cancer Institute, I was able to observe other families and people far worse than I am. And you realize how fragile life is. And so I think for me, and probably for most people, the experience has us say, gee, every day is precious. Let's be thankful for the gift we've gotten of life. So no, I agree with you. I think it's been a spiritual movement for me.
Rich, I want to ask you, as a member of the Catholic community, and you too, your life is centered around the Catholic faith. So for you, how does it feel to have Archbishop with you and feeling good and looking good? Because there was a time there was a lot of concern here.
Yeah, we're thrilled that he's back. Archbishop's the vice chair of our board at the foundation. He's also the leader of our church in Central Kentucky, obviously, and we are thrilled that he's back. He's our biggest cheerleader at the foundation, and he's the biggest reason for our success over the last 5 years. And as we talk about the Salute Dinner, he's the co-chair of that event as well. So we're thrilled to have the boss back. We need
well,
the boss back. I like it.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back
We're
and
happy
to work
that
with
you're
Rich.
Here. When you walk through the door, you have that presence about you that makes me not only stand up and pay attention, but also to want to be a better person. Just your mere presence. I have to ask you though, did any of your health challenges change your ideals or your theologies on our mortality?
I'm not sure if it changed it, but it made it more. I would say almost in your face. I mean, you know, when you realize that the uncertainty. Now you have to understand my personality. When there's an issue, my adrenaline flows. So I'm trying to see if I can get things on the right track, and then I start to take a step back and piece things together and reflect on them. And I would say it didn't change the theology. I wouldn't say that, but I would say it made me realize that I am fragile. There was part of me that said, gee, I don't think I'll ever get sick, because I felt good. I've always been active. But I realized that's just not the case. And so perhaps knowing how fragile life is, and if anything, it maybe deepened that commitment that I have to not only to use things well, but to appreciate. Appreciate's probably the better word. To appreciate the people in my life with whom I'm working. So hopefully I'm even a better person to work with, which will be good.
Well, Rich, you work very closely with the Archbishop. His office, your mission at the Catholic Education Foundation mirrors the mission for the Archbishop as well. So tell me about what that relationship is like and how you really complement each other.
Yeah, I came to the foundation 5 years ago, and we actually created a new partnership with the diocese and a new school plan, for that matter, in 2014 that's resulted in a more than doubling of the number of kids that we're providing tuition assistance to. We've gone from 1,500 in 2014 to now 3,250 kids across Central Kentucky.
Wow.
directly as a result of this partnership.
That's right.
Wow.
It's over 15% of the young people who are benefiting by Catholic schools. And one of the things that Rich and I know is we wanted this partnership to really address all 110 parishes that we have that stretch in 24 counties. We go right from the Ohio River to the Tennessee border. And that doesn't mean that there's a Catholic school at the doorstep of every parish or every school, every home. But there is a commitment as long as we focus on the child that needs help. That won the hearts, I think, of everybody.
You know, that really resonates because when you talk about children, I see you light up. And I know, Rich, that's important to you because if there are children there, parents who would like their children to experience a Catholic education, then the answer is yes.
Yes.
Right. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we coined that, Fred. It's kind of a homegrown slogan, and we coined that because prior to this partnership, we had to tell lots of families that we couldn't help them. They needed help, and we didn't have the funds. We were unable to do that. So we wanted to create a message or an invitation to families to come forward, and that's actually worked very well for us in terms of the outreach that we have in this community. And thank God, in the last 5 years, we've been fortunate enough to actually do what the slogan says. So for the last 5 years, every single kid that came to us that needed financial assistance, in fact, earned an award. Yeah. So we're super proud of that, and we're also very thankful for that as well.
And in a couple of minutes, we're going to talk about a dinner where we will celebrate some of the Catholic graduates here, and it's the 30th annual. It's been a huge success. I have to ask you, Archbishop, I read your message in the Record this week, and it was about Lent, and your focus was to not be lazy.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Now, for those who did not read that, is the emphasis on do not be lazy in your faith and your allegiance to Jesus Christ our Savior, or is it also in day-to-day life?
Well, it was take an initiative. And we believe in our faith that the very act of taking an initiative is itself a movement of grace. And that's very, very important in our life. And I use the example of the sloth, the slow-moving animal. It was interesting. You just had the dogs, the beautiful dogs on the program. But the sloth was moving slowly, and I thought, that's such a terrible thing to have the English word connected with a beautiful animal who's not lazy, just moves a little more deliberately.
He's just a little limited.
Exactly. and that was basically, as you know, in the article, I said, you know, with my fatigue and whatnot, I slowed up a bit. But that means that this is the time for us to take an initiative, take a step, and know that even the very act of taking a step, that's God working within us.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of taking an initiative, the Catholic Education Foundation, you have more emphasis now on technology, which I find interesting. Tell me about the inroads that you've made with technology in your foundation.
Yeah, we, in fact, in our early beginnings in the mid-90s, the primary emphasis of the foundation was technology in schools and parishes. So we were on the front end.
You really were.
Of providing classroom technology, and mostly in our Catholic elementary schools. And as time went on, the need kind of reversed. So technology became something more affordable and more a part of an operating budget of a school. But the tuition assistance needs started rising rapidly, particularly in the 2000s. So we've changed the proportionate amount of money that we spend on each, and now predominantly what we're doing today is tuition assistance, because that's the greatest need.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming salute, the dinner, the 30th annual. Rich, if you would, tell us about who will be celebrated. Tell us a little bit about, you know, who's going to be on the dais, the speakers, the featured speakers, and why this one is so special. I mean, 30 years. I mean, you've got a lot to be proud of.
It's unbelievable. We were just talking before the show. Our first event in 1990, we had a couple of hundred guests, and we lost $25,000. And this year, through God's grace, we're going to have 1,800 guests. It'll be sold out in the Grand Ballroom, and we're going to try to net, after we pay our expenses, we're going to try to net $1.2 million.
Wow.
So it's a phenomenal journey for all of us.
And all of that's basically being used for the needy families who really, after all the sacrifice they give, they still need assistance to be able to have a Catholic education for the children that desire it very much. You know.
Yeah, and we've got 6 Catholic school alumni honorees that we're going to showcased that night, and from all walks of life, John. You know, we look for people that have exemplary lives. Some are volunteers. We have a playwright and an author. We have a retired nurse who's a real leader, a community leader in West Louisville. Louisa Moss is her name. Jimmy Kirchdorfer, who's the CEO of ISCO Industries here in town, which was really a homegrown business out of a family hardware store.
And he's very philanthropic.
Yeah, and super. And Father Joe Graffis, who just retired. He's 50 years a priest in the diocese. We're going to honor Father Joe. Laura Schwab is a Sacred Heart grad who now runs Aston Martin across 2 continents, North and South America. First woman to ever do so in a 107-year history of Aston Martin. She'll be here with us. And it's just an amazing, I think, show of how folks have matured in their life and grown in their lives through their roots in Catholic education. We're also going to have Randy Bufford as our Community Service Award honoree. Randy's the co-founder of Trilogy Healthcare Services here in Louisville, which is a very successful company. And he and his wife, Susan, have been real stalwarts in terms of creating opportunities for people whose lives are either in desperation or in need of hope. And they've set up the Trilogy Foundation inside the company, which assists their own employees in times of need. And they've also set up the Bufford Family Foundation, which has a huge impact right here in our community, mostly around education, wellness, and transforming lives.
Wow. Archbishop, I want to ask you, so in this time we're in this election period and all of this divisiveness, and we've got this age of being critical, how important is it for you here in Louisville, for the Catholic faith and for the Catholic community, to celebrate some of the accomplishments that Rich just referred to?
Absolutely. To take a step back, I think part of civility is to begin by praising the things that are good. I mean, you can deal with the problems, you can deal with the challenges and the issues, but let's begin by praising what's good. If we don't do that, all we do is tear down. I'm sure I could come up with many examples, but at the top of the list would be the Salute Dinner, because it is upbeat, the 6 people being honored. I wait for those videos to be shown to give them a little, I guess in just a few 90 seconds or something like that, you learn the whole life of the person. And then there's the witness that each one of those salutees gives. And I know last year I was inspired by each one of them. So it does your heart good. And of course, we're going to have my friend Cardinal Dolan coming in from New York City the day after the St. Patrick's Day parade. So, you know, it's on the 18th. So most people would be tired that next day. But he's got so much energy, and he and I have been friends for many years. You may know that from, I guess, 2010 to 13, when he served as president of our U.S. Bishops Conference, I was vice president, and then later succeeded him as president. And so we made many trips to Rome and dealt with a lot of different problems and issues. But the other thing we did is we were able to laugh together. We were able to celebrate our faith, even with our meetings with our Holy Father, Pope Francis, and every once in a while enjoy a nice meal.
There we go. Yeah, as Rich knows, and he'll share this with the Archbishop, I'm a Catholic wannabe. And admittedly, some of it is the celebration side of it, the St. Patty's Day. I love the spinning of a wheel, a good bratwurst and a cold beverage. I'm all good with that. But so I want to.
You're making my mouth water.
but I love to be enlightened about the Catholic faith. I love the pomp and circumstance, the feeling of community, the commitment to family, and the commitment to just being a better person. Let's talk a little bit about Lent. Okay, so educate me a little bit. The abstaining, okay, you make a commitment to abstaining from whether it be alcohol or smoking, whatever the case may be. Is that to be more prepared to celebrate Easter? What's that about?
Well, it is, but remember the word Lent means spring. So first of all, the word itself, Lent, is renewal. Just as spring flowers and grass are coming up, we want to renew. And we often say that Jesus in his life was so concerned with others that he forgot to eat. And every once in a while, you might have a family member who's in the hospital, and you say, "Oh my gosh, I don't think I had lunch." Wow. So we try to do the reverse. We try to give up a little thing, maybe do something special, so that we can cultivate the mind and heart of Jesus.
Wow.
And that's Lent. And basically, you're right. It's leading us to the Paschal Mystery, to the life, death, resurrection of Jesus, to Easter. But the process itself is meant, we can actually say that we celebrate Lent because we're celebrating the fact that we're getting back to the basics. We're getting back to the core of who we are. And that gets into our dignity, our worth, and renewing what we want to be. I told people last night, I had a confirmation, and I said, my mom, when I did do something wrong growing up, one of the first things she would say to me, always got my attention, she said, what you just did was beneath your dignity. Meaning I have a dignity, but I have to live up to it. That's what Lent is about, with God's grace.
Well articulated. Well,
Thank you.
And I expect that from you, Archbishop. I've come to expect that and receive that from you. All right, on a much lighter note. Okay, I have to ask you. This Impossible hamburger, you know, that's at Burger King?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
if you're abstaining from meat, does that count? Because isn't that the whole Isn't it all about, okay, I'm abstaining from a meatless burger, you know?
Somebody asked me that, and I said, you are right. Impossible hamburger doesn't disqualify you. Now, if you enjoy it the way you would enjoy a big, lavish lobster dinner, you're missing
the point.
The point, exactly.
Okay.
So
right,
that's the only thing I would say.
I love this. Before we go, again, want to remind you about the big 30th anniversary salute dinner, and there it is. Can they still obtain tickets to it? Because
yeah, they're going fast. We're going to sell out. So if you want to do something, do it today. We're getting close to selling out.
Oh my goodness! So there's the information on the screen. It'll be a celebration. It will be a positive. It will be joyous, I promise you. And I think the timing is absolutely perfect for that as we prepare for Easter, and we are in need of something that is happy and upbeat. All right, before I let you guys go, last question. What does someone like you give up for Lent?
Well, that's a very good question. Actually, what I do is I renew my holy hour, which I do every morning, and on a busier day, it's a holy 45 minutes. So
there we go. Okay.
Depending what I can do, and what I have tried to do is
Excuse me,
abstain from
Archbishop,
meat.
but they're making me run. All right. Thank you very
Okay.
much. We'll see you tomorrow for Feel Good Friday on Wade 3 Listens Live.